Fashion trends have always been with us. I'm sure it was a caveman who looked to the other and said, "Oh, leopard skin so last year." Fashions and Fads That Underwhelmed Me by Irma Bombeck. Read by Karl. You always hear stories about fashion success stories. How a starlet lost an earring one night, but the next morning the entire country was wearing one earring. Or how sweaters made a comeback in a drugstore. Or a first lady influenced how we dressed during her reign. But what about the losers? The fashions that came and went out the same day? The hopes and dream desires that were shattered by the sound of 50 million women laughing themselves to death. Some styles, for one reason or another, just don't make it. Remember the scratch and smell t-shirt? This should have been a smash. The principle was great. You scratched and viola. A scent was circulated that ran the gamut from perfume to pizza. Unfortunately, there were too many imposters. People scratched for status and stirred up only perspiration. This gave the official scratch and smell shirt a bad name, not to mention the smell. What about the gladiator boots? Remember then? They were the polished leather boots that hit just above the knee. You could look stylish in them or sit down. You couldn't do both. The diaper bikini would have been a real seller if the wearers had been able to keep their weight down to 8.5 pounds. And the fanny sweater was a big loser. This is one of the many knit styles designed to fit a hanger and not a human body. The name was deceiving. It was suggested that anyone who had a fanny should cover it with a sweater. In many instances, that's all the sweater covered, and the sides and front were left wide open. The satin pillow stomach just didn't make it. A few years ago, the manufacturer actually came out with a fake stomach you tied around your waist for those girls who wanted to look healthy. I looked so healthy in it, 2 women on the bus hoisted me in their seats, and another called the police to report I was in the final stages of delivery. The fake stomach now resides on the living room sofa. There was a loser, however. It was a jumpsuit. This one piece of apparel had to be the brand X of the fashion industry. By actually account, there were only 6 women in the country who looked well in a jumpsuit. 5 of them were terminal, and the other was sired by a Xerox machine. Just out of curiosity, I was rummaging through a rack of jumpsuits when the salesman approached and asked, "Which size are you looking for? 12? 14? 16? "Yes," I said. "Which?" he pursued. "All 3. My bust is 12, my waist is 14, and my hips are 16. "Try the 14, she said dryly. The fitting room is behind better dresses. The fitting room was something I'd never seen before. It was a community deal. A large room with 16 mirrors on the wall, a rack in the center to hang discards, and a woman by the door to make sure you didn't wear out any more than you wore in. Now, a fitting room to me has always been a confessional, where my body and my contrition take up the entire room. There's no room for anyone else. I looked around. All eyes seemed to be focused on one woman. She weighed about 6 pounds and was trying on a jumpsuit. Slid on easily, up over her hips and onto her arms. I winced as she distributed the cloth left over around her waist. The crowd could not take their eyes off her. I've seen that look of resentment and pain on only one other occasion. It was a Charlton Heston movie, just before the door slid back between the Tristans and the lions. Inching closer, I whispered, "Lady, you better get out of here before they tear you to shreds." It was my turn. For 15 minutes, I tugged and inched my way into the jumpsuit and looked in the mirror. The chest was the size of the back. The stomach strained at the buttons. The legs were numb without circulation, and the hem swirled around the floor. "How do you swear off liquids after 4 p.m., she said. What about the platform shoes that brought on the dizziness and nosebleeds? Also a broken leg to a 13-year-old girl in England who fell off them. Well, the first time I tried on a pair of those clutches, I said to myself, these shoes should have a warning label on them that reads, "Warning, current to the Surgeon General office, these could be injurious to your health." I always thought platform shoes were something Alan Ladd wore to make kissing easier. Then I saw one woman who frequents my beauty shop. First I tried to ignore her deformity. Mother always said, "Don't stare. They know where their problem was located." Finally she said, "What do you think of my wedgies?" "I know you can walk on water in them," I said, "but what else can you do?" "Surely you jest," she said. "For a short person such as yourself, it could change your world. They can raise you off the ground, stretch out your body, and make you look 20 pounds thinner. How tall are you? And how much do you weigh?" I had no intention of giving away my vital statistics. "Let me put it this way," I said. "According to my girth, I should be 90-foot redwood." "So you need platforms," she said. The first pair I tried on felt great. I wiggled my toes and they sprang back like a released arrow. My ankles fit firm and I felt tall. Then I stood up. Easing my way across the floor, I looked into a mirror. The reflection looked like Milton Berle with a migraine. How can you look so funny? Asked one of my children. Don't talk to me, I snapped. I'm busy keeping my shoes on. In 5 minutes, I felt pain in the back of my legs, running up my hips and finally down to my toes. Within an hour, my heels were purple and my toes felt like they were being pushed to a ballpoint pen. The physical pain is nothing when you consider the shoes cost $18. I don't throw a pair away until the soles are worn thin. And the soles are 4 inches thick. By the time I got out of these orthopedic nightmares, I'd be a petrified redwood. There's one fashion that never really comes in style, never seems to go out. Each year, some designer comes up with the organized handbag. Now, I'm not into organized handbags. Let me put it another way. If Multi-Hall had offered $1 million to anyone having a 1958 baby tooth, a set of keys to a 3-year-old car, a fuzzy breast mint, and a half pair of footlets in their purse, I'd be a millionaire today. As with most vices, the only people this bothers are the reformers. The people who want to make organized handbags into law. They're the do-gooders who won't rest till you put your car keys on a clip with a flashlight at the top of the bag and a spot marked keys. Apparently, one of the more zealous members of the organized handbag movement is my mother. She can't comprehend why I carry around a pack of gum with no gum in it, or possibly use all I have for 2 C batteries. For my birthday, she couldn't wait to give me one of those handbags that has a place for everything. It looked like a post office. The first thing we're going to do is sit down and get it all organized, she said, and you never have to rummage through your purse again. Give me your checkbook. I don't have it, I said. I just carry a few blank tabs. What do you record them on when you've written them? My grocery tape. Where do you keep the grocery tape? In the brown bags where I get my groceries. And they are under the sink waiting for the garbage. I see. Well now, where's your passport? My what? Your passport. You know, permission to enter a foreign country. I only use it when I enter your grandson's bedroom. Here's a bag for your makeup. Where's that? I'm wearing it. Look, she said, why don't you fill up these little pockets and openings yourself and surprise me? A few days later, she saw the handbag and made me get it check it out. I put all my raffle tickets under traveler's checks, hair clippings and singlet rings under club affiliations, the training stamps jammed in the passport pocket, a pair of fake eyelashes under major credit cards, and 2 worn-out washers I had to replace were in the makeup bag. As I told her, I hope you're happy now. We'll be able to find a thing. Another trend I cannot bear that is destined to race to oblivion is the name-dropping signatures that adorn everything you wear these days. I know of a lot of women, too, who walk around looking like billboards. Their bags carry the Gucci signature, their scarves spell out Yves Saint Laurent, and their blouses have the name of Wayne Rogers incorporated into the design. I never know who makes my clothes. Whoever they are, they're too ashamed to sign them. The closest they ever came to was finding out when I shook a pair of slacks out one day and a little piece of paper fell out. Inspected by 56. I have no idea who 56 is or where she came from, but when wearing the slacks, I got a mental picture of her. She was a former designer for an awning company until revision started to go. When she could no longer see to attach a zipper to a tent flap, she was put in slacks. She regards slacks like a tent. One size fits all. I tried to track her down, but I heard she changed her name to Inspector 94. Like I say, it doesn't bother me a bit that kids walk around in hang ten sweat socks with the stupid little feet emblem, or flaunt Levi labels coming out of their seams, but my friend is a real status seeker. At once one day she gasped, "Did you see that? Violet is wearing a Lanvin blouse." "How can you tell?" "If you just read her chest, you can tell," she said. "That's shabby. If people can't look at my clothes and buy their style and cut and know who designed them, I'm certainly not going to advertise." "Don't give me that," she snapped. "If your dresses had a perma-press label in them, you wore them wrong side up." That was a pretty rotten accusation from a woman I personally knew sat up nights drawing pigments on her husband's golf shirts. Like I told her, "You're such a snob, it would serve you right if you got stuck with one of those $50 handbags that came out about a year ago." It seems a couple of designers suddenly included an 8-letter noun with an obscene word woven into the pattern. English speaking women didn't have any idea the word was smutty. As my friend counted the letters out on her fingers, she explained, "You don't have to tell me the word, just nod your head if I'm right. It's J.C. Penney, isn't it?" "It's not J.C. Penney." "No trouble with you," said my friend. "It's just not open to new fashion trends. It takes a lot of courage to be different, and you don't have the guts." "Why, I bet you've never worn a bathrobe to a party, have you?" "No, since the night I had my appendix taken out on the coffee table." "Barbara Walters did," she said. "She was invited to a state dinner in the Philippines. The dinner was to begin in 10 minutes, and Barbara had not brought along a long dress. She was about to decline. She remembered she had a red bathrobe that would work and save the day. How does that make you feel?" "Sick to my stomach." "I don't have a bathrobe in my drawer that would get me through an 8th grade prom, or house call for my doctor for that matter. Somehow I cannot imagine myself showing up for a state dinner in the Philippines in a pair of blue scuffies, a flannel robe with a stomach button missing, split up on the shoulder, the baby is 18 years old, and pockets bulging from nose tissue that smells like vapor rub. I even took a turn the other day through the lingerie department, and frankly I can't see how they got away with it. I've never seen so many beautiful gowns and robes in my entire life." "Here's one I so love," said the salesperson. She held up a satin gown. "The last time I saw anything that narrow, there was toothpaste in it." "I'm afraid not. I've made a rule of thumb I do not wear anything to bed I'd have to wear a girdle under." "What about this one?" she asked, holding up a transparent bit of nylon. "I've also promised myself that I would never wear anything in bed you'd have to wear a coat over." "What do you have in mind?" she said. "Something with sleeves, a turtleneck, and a zip-in floor." Then she held up a robe. "I tell you, it was a knockout." "I'll take it," I said impishly. Last weekend I took the plunge and decided to wear it as an evening dress. And my friend was right. As I entered the room, all eyes were upon me while my husband looked up and said, "Hurry up and get dressed. We're leaving in 10 minutes. There were other losers, of course, too numerous to mention. Who could forget the tube dress designed for the woman who wanted to be mailed somewhere? Or the oriental look that lasted as long as our diplomatic relations with China lasted? Or the pierced ears fad? I knew that was never last. My daughter was crazy to have it done. I couldn't talk her out of it. I told her, if the operation was so simple, good housekeeping would have put out a kid on it. We both went to the department store jewelry counter where they had a chair for the puncturie. "I'll watch," I said. When I came to, my head was in baked goods and my feet in better sportswear. "Is it over?" I gasped. "Yes," said my daughter, "you did fine. You passed out just after you asked the anesthesiologist what kind of anesthetic he used, and it turned out to be the jewelry buyer. See my earrings?" She flipped back 8 pounds of hair to reveal a little gold ring the size of a comma in her earlobe. It was hardly worth scrubbing up for. The end.